Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Programming and Algorithms. In this episode we're going to look at some simple statistics on arrays and in particular how to implement those in Python. So we've looked at it in pseudocode already, now let's look at how we do it in Python. So our first program is to find the minimum value in the array. And as we know, all we need to do to find the minimum value is simply to assume that the first element is the smallest value in the array and then go through the list of the array, and if we find any value that's smaller than our first value, we assign that to be the minimum value. So the Python code for this is very much like the pseudocode. The only thing I'll emphasize is the importance of the indentation. So make sure we remember the for is indented, then the if is indented further, then the min val assigned age index is indented further. So just make sure that tabbing out is always kept consistent and always with for loops. If the length of the array is n, then we go from 0 to n, because n is not the last value we look at, it's the value before that we stop at in Python. As we know, that's how the for loop works, the range. So let's look at how to calculate the maximum value in an array. The maximum value, as we know, is the opposite. We assume the first value is the largest value, then we go to the end and see if there's any other value that's bigger than it. So the code again is very consistent. And again, the only thing to note is your indentation there, so there's no other strange things that we need to know from our Python versus our pseudocode. If we want to calculate the average, we've got an accumulator, total 0, we loop around, add total to total plus the age, and then we divide to get the average, the total, by the number of elements in the array, or in this case the length of the array. Nothing unusual about that Python code either. We do note that we create the array. If we wanted to, we could have the users input the numbers into the array if we wanted to, or we could do that int input open bracket, close bracket, if we want to do it like that. And then the code for the standard deviation in the array, we'll remember there's 2 bits to it. The first loop calculates the average, and then the second loop gets inside it we get the square of the differences between each value and the average value. When we've that square done, we accumulate that for each element, and then we print out the square root of that value divided by n minus 1, or in this case the length of age minus 1. I think the key important take home from this one is, we said it about Python before, that it has a core or a kernel that's very well built, and then there's a lot of libraries or functions you can add into it. Python doesn't have the ability to calculate the square root built into it, but kind people have written a library of functions, a library of software called the math library, M-A-T-H. So at the very start of our Python code there we can see we import math, which means all of the features that people have created in the math library, we get to use them. And as we can see at the bottom of the code there, print math.square root. So one of the functions built into math is called sqrt. So because it's not part of the core Python library, it's part of the math library, we need to bring in the math library, and then we can use all the functions that it has built into it. And that's what we're doing at the bottom there. We're using the square root function. So we'll see that particularly in semester 2, there are a number of methods or modules of software already written by other people. And if we want to use them, first we need to say where we're getting them from. So there's a math library. And when we say import math, what we're saying is, give me all the functions that people have written about maths already. And then we're using the square root. So that's something new that we're learning about Python. So thanks very much. We'll see you on the next episode.